What's up, guys? Matt Moda here, sports betting writer with Newsweek, here to give you 5 bets in 5 minutes. That's right. In the next 5 minutes, you're going to hear 5 of the greatest bets you'll ever see in your entire life. Again, I am Matt Moda, sports betting writer for Newsweek. As always, appreciate GoldBoys and their media channel for producing this video. And let's get right into the bangers. So we're going to start with Monday Night Football tonight. 2 picks in this one. Number 1, we're going with Justin Herbert. 275 plus passing yards, plus 135 odds at bet 365. Going back to a system play that I have been on for much of the season, looking at quarterback passing yard overs against the Ravens. On the season, the Ravens have allowed 304 passing yards per game. They're the only team above 300. They're the only team above 290, giving up the most passing yards per game. And only 2 quarterbacks this season have not hit their passing yardage prop against the Ravens. And as for the Chargers, as for Justin Herbert, first 5 weeks of the season, the highest run rate in the NFL. Since then, that run rate is down 10%. And with that thought in mind, Justin Herbert has exceeded 275, in 4 of his last 5 games. Next up, in the same game, we're going with Justice Hill. 25 plus receiving yards, plus 150 odds at FanDuel. This is a matchup play here. What the Chargers do, they will allow receiving work to the running back, and the Ravens have shown that they will use Justice Hill in these types of matchups, right? 3 times this year, Justin Hill has had a really good receiving game. All 3 of those times were against teams that give up top 5 receptions to running backs. And Justice Hill is a zone beater for the Ravens. He's got the highest target per route run against zone coverage, and the Chargers run zone coverage at the highest rate in the NFL. The only defense comparable to the Chargers in terms of how often they run zone coverage is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In that game, Justice Hill had 3 receptions for 44 yards. I think that he's a little bit undervalued in a good matchup, and the Ravens have shown that they will use Justice Hill when they have good matchups against defenses that will allow a lot of receiving work to running backs. So I absolutely love that play. 2 plays for Monday Night Football. Now let's go to the NBA. Our remaining 3 plays. LaMelo Ball, 35 plus points, plus 210 odds at BetMGM. Generally, I don't like to bet off of players coming off of career games. LaMelo Ball just scored 50 points. This is basically a system play. When Miles Bridges is out of the lineup, LaMelo Ball shoots the ball a zillion times is the scientific term for how often he shoots. He's played 5 games this year without Miles Bridges. He scored 31, 38, 35, 35, and 50 points in those 5 games with a usage rate of 43.5%. That would be the highest usage rate in NBA history. What he is doing from a usage rate perspective is historic. And we just saw this matchup against the Orlando Magic. He scored 35 points on a volume of 27 field goal attempts, 14 of which came from deep. The Magic are good defense, but they allow the 10th most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers. 7th highest frequency of shots against them are pull-up 3-pointers. That's how LaMelo Ball scores. I think he's due for a good, not due, I think he's set up for a good game tonight. Next up, we're going with Jakob Poeltl, 30 plus points plus rebounds. Jakob Poeltl's had a quietly very good year for the Raptors, and he's got a good matchup against the Pistons. What I like about backing Jakob Poeltl, he could have 25 points, he could have 19 rebounds like we just saw him do last night. And the Pistons defense is improved from last year, but they're still allowing the most points per game to centers per hashtag NBA, and they're allowing the 4th most points per game to pick and roll rollmen, which is where Jakob Poeltl scores the majority of his points. These 2 teams just played 10 days ago. Jakob Poeltl, 25 points and 18 rebounds. All we need is him to do not even that much, and we're cashing out this 30 plus for us. Absolutely love this play on Jakob Poeltl. Lastly, our 5th and final pick of the video, Brandon Ingram, 25 plus points, plus 145 odds at bet 365. Take your high usage rate players against the Pacers. The Pacers have allowed the 6th most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers, 4th most points per game via isolation, and they foul at the 5th highest rate. That means guys that have the ball in their hands a lot, that drive to the paint, score a lot of points against the Pacers. Per Props Madness, 6 of 7 players with a similar scoring type to Brandon Ingram have hit their point prop over, including Brandon Ingram, who did this earlier this year, scoring 26 points against the Pacers. It's also a great fade of recent results, which I love to do. Scored 17 and 18 points in his last 2 games. He bounces back in a great matchup, rounding out our 5th and final pick of the video. And that's all we got. Again, Matt Moda, sports betting writer for Newsweek. We thank you, GoldBoys, for allowing me on the YouTube channel. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.